I was irritated when I saw a student's message in which he asked me to talk to him over a call for 5 minutes. Let me give you a brief background to understand why I was irritated. The student had asked me on earlier occasions also to talk to him for 5 minutes for various things, and generally the call went on for 15-20 minutes, and those were also the calls that I did not enjoy. So when I saw this message, I had resistance towards getting on a call. But then, why was I irritated? I could simply say no. Somewhere at the back of my mind, when I was irritated, I was thinking that this person is the cause of my suffering. I'm suffering because this person sent me a message. But then over a period of time, I'm coming to this understanding that nobody outside of me can make me suffer. So I was wondering, what exactly is making me suffer? And then I realized that it's because of my conflicting desires that I'm suffering. Okay, what are those desires? One desire is that I don't want to talk to that student over a call. That is one desire. The second desire is I want to be liked by that student. I want that student to think favorably of me. Now, I knew that these two desires are not going to be satisfied at the same time. If I end up talking to him, then he may like me. But if I don't talk to him, he may not think favorably of me. So only one of the desires is going to be satisfied. Now the choice was to pick one of these two desires, which one to satisfy. So essentially, the suffering was not because of what the student did. It was because of my conflicting desires, or at least at that time, the desires were conflicting. And actually, life presented me an option to pick one of those two desires. But I wanted life to present me an option in which I could satisfy both of my desires. Right? I don't talk to the other person, but still he thinks favorably of me. But life didn't present me with such an option. So in a way, I was not liking what life was presenting me with. Life was presenting me with a choice to pick one of these two, but I wanted to pick both of those. But there was no such choice as such. So I was not liking what life was presenting to me at that time. In a way, I had resistance towards life itself. And that resistance, I believe, was making me suffer. In a way, I'm beginning to understand that all my suffering is because of my resistance towards life. At any moment in time, life presents me options. Okay, this one to choose or that one to choose. There are always options. Of course, there are at times options which satisfy all of our needs. But at other times, there are options in which we have to pick which need to satisfy or which desire to satisfy. Now, in those moments, whenever there is a choice and we can't satisfy all of our desires at the same time, we resist. We want an option in which we could satisfy all of our needs. But let's say that option is not there. So we continuously resist that aspect of life, that why don't we have such an option in which we could satisfy all of our desires. So that resistance towards life is what causes suffering. Let's say life presents us with an option to pick either desire 1 or desire 2, and we pick one of those and move on. Then there is no suffering. Of course, one of our desires is not going to be satisfied, but in any case, that is not in our control because there was no such option to satisfy both desire 1 and desire 2. But we resist. And I believe that I think a big part of our suffering is essentially just resistance towards life. That I don't want options that the life presents me with. I want an option that is currently not there. That is all my suffering. So when I realized that my suffering is because of my resistance towards life. I stop calling others the source of my suffering. When I understand that my suffering is a result of my conflicting desires, if I let the other person think the way he wishes to think about me, then I am free to choose any action that I want to choose. So, my suffering is not really caused by him. Probably he's involved in the situation in which I'm having this choice, in which I have to pick one of those desires. But the suffering is because of the conflict between my desires. Yeah, that's what I understood today.